you have your channel, your computer's good, everything's good, you have the time to
Mhm.
start, you have a schedule going, or you have an idea of what you want to do. How do you find your voice? How do you find the right Let's Plays for you? And how do you find something that's acceptable to put on the internet? So, how do you know when you've got something that's worth it?
Yeah. What do you think on this? Do you want to go first?
I was hoping that you would go first because, again, this is something that I did. I had an impossible time trying to find my
Oh,
identity
okay.
on like in my commentary. So one thing we're going to talk about that April and I both hate is the idea that you'll be fine if you just be yourself. That advice is some of the emptiest advice for doing YouTube that I think I've ever heard, and it's awful advice. Because yes, you're gonna quote unquote be yourself. Your personality is going to shine through. It's gonna be you recording, but it's kind of hard to describe, but it's sort of like how are you yourself, but how is that being reflected in your commentary or in Let's Plays? How are you going to be you? Because just being you is not enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand. Okay, so for me, I was super excited about Monte Vista.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know that people did like world LPs.
People weren't at the
So
time.
I was like, okay, I mean, like, you didn't see a lot of the world gameplay. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to make an LP surrounding this world, and I'm going to make an intricate story. And I know there are other LPers who do that, and for me, it just makes it more enjoyable. Um, and so what I did is I made up the Spiegels, and I went through several permutations of the Spiegels. I was, trying to make different choices. Like, if you watch my Spequel, you know that there is an original Helia, which was, Hugh and Hannah and Harry's sister. I actually took her out of the LP because I only wanted 4 Sims. And based upon the dynamics of the personalities, what I went with was that. So I added her later to the Spequel. Um, and it's kind of like I feel like I made the right decision, but I made it being careful and choosing correctly. And when I was making the story up, I deliberately worked against things which you see typically in stories. Like, I don't like the whole thing where someone has to die
Hmm.
to push forward someone's story. That's male or female, that's shoving someone in the refrigerator.
Hmm.
And it's not necessary.
No.
um yeah, and so, like, not to denigrate stories that do that, but at the same time I was like, I'm going to work against this. And it's I was very careful to choose something that I felt like I wanted to play. um and then, aside from that, in terms of my personality, I've explained this multiple times. I swear a lot. I have a crazy potty mouth, and I swear like a sailor on leave, and that's just what I do. And I watch a lot of LPers. Like, I watch Two Best Friends play regularly. They have potty mouths. I watch Game Grumps. They have potty mouths.
Hmm.
I love Brutal Moose and things like that. They have potty mouths. So it's one of those things where I felt like, I actually did market research in terms of what the demographics for The Sims is. And while I
Hmm.
don't feel that swearing is inherently wrong, I
Obviously.
felt like it was, yeah, I felt like it was super important to respect the fact that some parents wouldn't like it and all of that. So I had to adjust my personality for that. Then initially, I was nervous to talk about my Porphyria. I didn't know if people would think I was fishing for pity or any of those things. So that was something I sort of edited out of my conversation, even when I was feeling really sick or obviously confused. Because if you watch my early videos, towards the end of the videos, it often sounds like I was getting confused, and that's because I was. Um, so I'm trying to think of what else in terms of my personality I've really adjusted. Just I can sometimes, I'm very sarcastic.
Hmm.
Uh, I have kind of a dark sense of humor. And while I don't try to hide that, at the same time, it needs to be kept in check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And oh, one more thing. What was I gonna say? Yeah, what was it? I hate this.
Case
I can
in
never
point.
think. Basically, the personality. I know, right? It'll come back. Go ahead
Okay.
and do your thing, and then it'll come back. I'll write it down if it does.
Okay, so for
You got.
me, it took me I'm kind of upset about how long it really took me to feel comfortable, first of all, recording. Because, like I said, I did this because I wasn't comfortable. And so, even when I sat down to record something that I thought I was having a good time with, I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to really feel comfortable and how to enjoy what I was putting up there. So, with my Civilization 5 Let's Play, in a way, that's pretty much just going through the motions and trying to win the game. So that was kind of fine. But when it came to doing The Sims 3, and my first Sims 3 Let's Play was general gameplay because I wanted to play with all the expansion packs and stuff back at the time. I called it Pets, but um, and I wanted to do something that I enjoyed, the way I actually played the game, but deliberately going against the typical things that I saw. So I had characters that were Sims characters. I mean, they call them characters, but they're Sims. But I had Sims that were of like different races, and I had the leads were two gay male Sims, and I had all these like different things going on. I was playing in a custom world because no one else was playing custom worlds at the time, and I was doing all this stuff, and I thought, okay, well, I'll sign out by doing this. But at the end of the day, the way I play the game isn't necessarily ideal to what a let's play is supposed to be. Like, yes, like my private gameplay is my private gameplay, but I have to present things that people are gonna want to watch. And so it took me a long time to really stop doing what I want to do and to do something that, I mean, I still have fun, I still do what I want to do, but at the same time it's like you have to kind of do both. You have to also consider that people might watch this, and so what is an audience looking for? And then like in April is when I really started to get comfortable, and I think I started like 3 different series in April. I did my Midnight Sun that month, I did Intantasy, I did 4. I did that, Intantasy, Adoption Legacy, and Delight the Ugly. And with those, I was doing challenges. I had a specific set of rules to follow, and in some cases, but I could also have my fun and do what I wanted to do. And in having my fun and doing, and then my university life back in March, in a way, was also kind of the beginning of me feeling comfortable because I made the Sims that I wanted to make while still focusing on this specific thing, which is showing off the gameplay for this new expansion pack. I could do what I wanted to do, and making myself comfortable in what I wanted to play while also having this sort of like guidelines to follow, who I am as a person, like my kind of goofiness and my lack of focus. I'm not a funny person, but I do like to point out things, like observations of things that are funny to me, and that kind of, kind of brings people in. And then my sort of the way I relate everything to like a movie or a book I read or a song I heard or something like that, some kind of like references. And just, I'm not a good like storyteller in The Sims. I can't stick with the story for too long. But what interests me the most is it's not where you start out with in my gameplays, but how my series evolves. So if you have my 6 Sims in the university life, which I just kind of rewatched the other day, I had a plan for them in the beginning, and the gameplay took me places I didn't expect them to go at all. And so kind of following along with investing yourselves and following along with whoever your Sims are, your characters are, I was able to kind of have a good time with that and really trying to kind of focus on like direct my commentary towards what those Sims were doing. And then, I got more comfortable, and now I'm happy with what I'm doing now, but it took years. It took me, I think this is just this, if it's August now, that was April, so what was that, like 3 months, 4 months? It took a while. I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of like flying blind,
Yeah.
but and then
Yeah, I feel like you really started to shine.
it was hard, yeah. And it wasn't like a conscious thing, but it was just like I gotta make a decision. And then there was a lot of trial and error for me. I deleted like a bunch of videos the other day, and just going back and looking at where I like what I was doing, and I tried things that didn't work. I tried different games that didn't work. I tried different like Sims that didn't work out, and you have to kind of feel it out and kind of see what's gonna work for you, because some things just don't happen. If it doesn't happen, get rid of it. Don't keep things up hoping that it's gonna take off. If it doesn't take off, move on and do something else. You gotta keep trying new things. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.